he was basically like, you're now diagnosed with scoliosis. So in my head I'm saying scoli what? I couldn't even pronounce it. So now I'm going to give you the formal explanation of what scoliosis is, and then I'll give it to you in my own words. And I'm going to read it from the laptop. Scoliosis is a sideways curvature of the spine that occurs most often during the growth spurt just before puberty. It can be caused by conditions such as cerebral palsy, but most of the causes are unknown. About 3% of adolescents have scoliosis. Now you can go tell your mom, your dad, your granddad, your sister, your dog, your cat, your rabbit, your snake. If you have a snake, don't come to me, please. That 3% of adolescents have scoliosis. There you go, little quick fact there. Most cases of scoliosis are mild, but some continue to get more severe as children grow. Severe scoliosis can be disabling. This is a bit awkward. And especially severe spinal curve can reduce the amount of space within the chest, making it difficult for the lungs to function properly. Children who have mild scoliosis are monitored closely, usually with x-rays to see if the curve is getting worse. In many cases, no treatment is necessary. Some children will need to wear a brace to stop the curve from worsening. Others may need surgery to keep scoliosis from worsening and to straighten severe cases of scoliosis. So based on my own words, scoliosis is when your spine that's supposed to be straight says you decide to have a growth spurt before puberty. In some cases it can be after or during puberty, but what are you doing? Why are you growing so quickly? So do you know what? I'm going to show you. I'm going to teach you a lesson now. I'm going to start curving. So rather than actually staying straight and actually just growing with your body, it starts curving. The more it curves, the more it rotates. What is going on here? And the more it rotates, it can crush your internal organs. If you put it like that, that's basically it. See what I mean? All that information not needed. But I thought, let me just give you guys a formal kind of explanation and give you my own simple one, ghetto one. Because why not? Scoliosis doesn't just happen to people that are in a wheelchair or have a disability. Scoliosis can happen to you right now that's watching. God forbid. I would never wish this upon you. But it can actually, and this can be from actually just having a heavy bag. So for example, a lot of girls, for example, you carry handbags, your handbag is really heavy, you're carrying it on one side consistently, you're more refrained to actually just lean into one side, if that makes sense. And sometimes it could just be your posture. For example, kids that are in secondary, sometimes you could be slouching in class, maybe you don't want to be listening to your French teacher and you're thinking just be quiet. Sometimes it's your posture that can actually cause scoliosis. All these things actually have an impact to it, if that makes sense. So the symptoms are uneven shoulders. I don't know if mine are even at the moment, but uneven shoulders. So sometimes you might see someone like this and you might not notice. It can be the most slightest angle and it can make a big difference. One shoulder blade that appears more prominent than the other. At the back. Uneven waist, one hip higher than the other. If a scoliosis curve gets worse, the spine will also... Oh, so here it's basically saying what I was saying. If a scoliosis curve gets worse, the spine will also rotate or twist. In addition to curving side to side, this causes the ribs on one side of the body to stick out further than the other side. So with me, there's a lot of different curvatures. There's a C, there's a S, there's a C backwards. There's a lot of curvatures. I basically started with the top of my spine like that, and it just went, you know. So it basically said S for Suhaila. And I was just like, it's a bit disrespectful, because why could you not just be a simple C and we just do a simple, do you know what I mean? Bibbity babbity boo. Done. Little Macbeth. That didn't want to happen. So my curve went from 0 to 100 real quick. Like, when I say real quick, like that quick. Do you know what I mean? Like, the change from 2019 to 2020. Like, anyways, a brace was not going to help it. I basically had to have surgery. And obviously, surgery, it was a very big surgery. So it wasn't a thing where it was just like, oh yeah, we're going to put you and you're just going to come in tomorrow and have a surgery. No, it took a while. However, how long it took, it wasn't supposed to take that long. But I'll get into that in a minute. This basically happened mid-2015. And I obviously stopped going to school by myself. Even though my mum saw I was curving, I didn't notice it. And it's a bit crazy because I didn't notice it until the doctor actually diagnosed me with scoliosis. And then I started to notice a lot of changes. So I had pictures where I was basically like this. School pictures, I was like this. I'll go out with my friends. I'll be pushing myself and I'll be pushing myself like this. One thing I do want to make clear, I'm not going to say that this whole situation was completely my fault. Now when I look back, it's like I really should have listened to my mum, but at the end of the day, it may have just happened. Same way it can happen to a person that's just, you know, living their normal life. So it's not a matter of I regret it, because you live and learn. I took that as a lesson to actually know, oh yeah, in future, you know what, I actually should listen to my mum. So aside from me tilting to the side, my ribs started to come out. My shoulder blade, one of my shoulder blades was quite out, but it wasn't as bad, because I've seen other people that have had scoliosis and their shoulder blades it's out there, but mine, I can thankfully say that it wasn't that bad, but you know, it wasn't as it was before. And my shoulders, of course, because I was curved, I was just basically like this. I feel like up until now, so sometimes I feel like I can just do this more rather than like, if I show you guys now, I can do this, but I struggle to do this. Anyway, during the time where I was waiting to have surgery, I had to do a lot of physio, a lot of exercise. I had different things where they would push like these strap things around me. They're like waist trainers. I would have to do different types of physio. I had to do physio during my physio sessions, physio at home, physio at school, physio during my PE lessons. When it came to PE, there was no way you're telling me I can't play rounders, or there was no way you're telling me I can't play this, I can't play. I will make sure I'm involved. When I actually started to have scoliosis, there was a lot of things that it was hindering me from, and that was also one of the things, which was my PE lesson, which was quite frustrating, but you know, it was life at the end of the day. And then it just came to a point where months went by and I was just still doing these exercises and I was listening to these doctors. And then I just got tired and I stopped doing the exercises. And I was thinking, when is this going to get solved? So it didn't take me 6 months to get my operation done, because they basically said, oh, yeah, it would take 6 months to a year to get my operation done. I feel like I need to move you guys a bit back. I feel a bit claustrophobic. So I got diagnosed in 2015. I had my surgery in 2017. So it took a whole 2 years for me to get my operation done. And this was after my mum was pregnant at the time. So she used that as her opportunity. I'm not sure what happened during that time, but I remember going for a pre-op assessment. I had to get blood tests, this lung function test, ECGs. And I didn't get my operation done. My mum went crazy on them because she was like, this is not happening to my daughter again. I'm guessing she was right as of what she said, because boy, it worked. So she basically said to them, if my child does not have an operation within 18 weeks, I'm taking a private and you guys are paying for it. And they cut me up ASAP. They cut me up and did what they needed to do ASAP. No, I'm joking. But honestly, if it wasn't for my mum actually just, you know, pushing them to actually do it, then I don't think I would have got it done any sooner. They got my pre-op assessment done again. As I said, it takes the whole day because my veins are very small. So when I do get blood tests, they have to put a needle in me more than once. So yeah, I had to have blood tests again, ECG. ECG is basically when they have all them wires sticking out of you, checking your heart rate. I had to do this lung thing when I had to like blow through things. So it takes a whole day for all of this to happen because they do so many things. So you start getting yourself psyched up and everything. You're thinking, oh my gosh, like, you know, this is real, this is actually happening. And I was quite young, so of course it's a lot for me to be taken in. I even forgot to explain some of the things that actually affected me before that. So during the time I was at home, and obviously it came to a point where I said I stopped doing my exercise because I just kind of had enough. After that, I started to have panic attacks. Now, my panic attacks did not sound like panic attacks. They sounded like I was basically dying. Let me just be honest. Not that I know what dying sounds like, but people wanted to call ambulance straight away. I'm not sure who it was exactly that realised that it was a panic attack, but it got to a point where I had to get taken to A&E, and they basically gave me an inhaler. No reason why they gave me an inhaler, because I am not asthmatic, but apparently that's what I needed, and I started to rely on that, and that wasn't the best thing, because it was kind of like a comfort type of thing, which wasn't the best thing. So yeah, I started to have panic attacks regularly. I started at home and then continued during school hours. So during my lessons, I'd have them, I'd have to get taken out. One of my good friends, she was like basically one of the only people that was able to calm me down. If I was to go into exam hall, so when we were doing our mocks, I could not go into that exam hall because I would have the maddest anxiety. So on top of the stress of I'm about to have a big operation, it was anxiety, stress of scoliosis. It was just all together, and it was not helping. And the thing is, with my school, I had like a good support system when it came to people that I guess had anxiety a lot, but I was not a type of person to go speak to a teacher. I don't know, I just wasn't that type of person. I didn't like it at all. I'll speak to my friends, I'll speak to my mum, but I just wasn't the type of person to go speak to a teacher. I don't know if it was a thing where I just didn't trust them. I think I watched too much Tracy Beaker, where they just write too many things in the files, and I'll be thinking, no, because when I'm up there, they'll be bringing me down saying, oh yeah, she had this and this and this. Not that it's an issue now, because I'm coming out with it myself saying, yes, I had anxiety and I still do have anxiety. I just wasn't that type of person to go speak to teachers. And there was a time where I would have it in public, and when I have it in places where I'm uncomfortable, it's very hard for me to stop. I did have 1 or 2 times where I had a panic attack, and it was very hard for me to calm down, and the ambulance had to get called because I could like pass out and things like that. It was a lot prior to the operation. On the 26th, I was under general anaesthetics, and I finally had my spinal surgery. I had to come in at 7:30 a.m. and I was so scared.